Other M Issue 17. After the heroes sit and talk about how much they miss being in Bark pointlessly, Fiona says that Bark is a father they never had. Rotor pointlessly insults her for siding with her boyfriend, saying that it's such a surprise. Pretty ironic for Fiona to side with Sonic, her boyfriend. She yells at Rotor, who complains about Sonic acting like the new leader, and says that his attitude is getting on his nerves. Sonic snarks, "You can always leave, Rot. You really want another of the Freedom Fighters to leave, getting rid of your chances even more, even if he is a jerk. I'd like to point out that we haven't seen this Rotor make a single invention, let alone get into a single fight. This means that he's been literally useless, and yet it's Sonic, or rather the alternate Sonic, who has a reputation for being useless." Sonic says that he's trying to get the heroes back on track, and if Rotor wants to start infighting, he can do it on his own time elsewhere. He gets them all to listen, as Fiona's unfortunately drawn with a horse face yet again, and Predator Hawk says that with the bad morale of the team, they need to take out the source of the problem. How? Forced optimism? He suggests a direct assault on the Guardian with an army, and explains that when the Guardian took over all of Mobius apparently, so let's just ignore Kodos there, he put vassal lords in charge of former kingdoms. Okay, he's not ruling all of Mobius then. And one of the Guardian's tactics was to make an offer to each kingdom before he attacked. If they surrendered, he would let their current ruling body stay in power if they deferred to him. Most of the kingdoms resisted, but one went with the program. And if they meet with the leader of that province, they could potentially convince him to aid them. Fiona naturally asks why they should trust that leader to help them when he didn't help before. And Predator Hawk explains that they'll have to convince the leader, Prince Charmy, well enough. Also, it's misspelled as Charmé with an E at the end, or maybe that's just how it's spelled in this universe. We'll see if Sonic makes that mistake too. After Sonic is comedically exasperated at how it was Charmy, Antoine asks how they'll get down to the Earth from Angel Island, and Rotor says that 8 miles is a long dive. You guys do realize you have someone with you who can fly, right? Instead of pointing this out, Predator Hawk says that he'll give them the hangar number in the active region of Launch Base Zone that he somehow has access to, rather than just flying all of them to the Earth one by one and avoiding a lot of wasted panels. He says that they can meet him there tomorrow morning as opposed to right away. Again, a lot of padding. Later, we see the heroes waiting around the aircraft hiding, with Fiona saying she hates being in broad daylight. But are you a vampire? This implies that the heroes do all their missions at night. Won't this make them nocturnal and mess up their sleep schedule? The heroes briefly try to run at seeing Predator Hawk in his business suit, even though they should have recognized his face. Do you think all birds look alike? Predator Hawk explains that this is what he normally looks like when he's keeping his corporation in any way he can. After Rotor distrusts him because conflict, Predator Hawk looks sad and says that he'll get them an audience with the prince, telling them which hangar to go to. Then Vector says over the intercom that he'd like to talk to Predator Hawk before his flight. I sense a Diabol's Ex Machina coming up. The Chaotix tells him that his Trans-Island papers indicate Hangar 91 rather than Hangar 19, and he apologizes for the mix-up and asks if he should delay his flight to the Golden Hive province, explaining that he recently learned one of the waste byproducts of his corporation is vital to one of the province's clean energy generators, and he was hoping to open up a trade deal with them and bring new income and jobs to the Echidnas. He says that while delaying his flight would annoy the representatives, it's better than having Julie angry. Fortunately, Espio, who is drawn with the neck for some reason, says to have a pleasant flight, and Vector starts to look annoyed, walking away with a blank-looking tails, with Espio briefly showing racism against the B-Mobians, telling him in concern to not trust them too much. Why? We haven't heard them doing anything wrong. Then over the intercom, someone tells the evilly smirking Chaotix that with this luck, the negotiations with the prince would be a snap, so they could hear the heroes' conversation through the intercom. You know, this never would have happened if Predator Hawk had been smart and just flown everyone one by one down to the Earth instead of insisting on getting an aircraft. Granted, maybe the logic is that they have a long flight to get to Charmy's kingdom, so it would take way too long for Predator Hawk to... But he could still just fly them down to Mobius, and then Sonic could lift them into his arms and run over to Charmy's kingdom after being told which way to go, and he'd be running so fast that he'd be at the speed of sound and easily get them there in time. So again, this is forced writing, forcing the characters to act like complete idiots. just for the sake of having the next plot happen. This issue was by Ian Flynn, and had Predator Hawk used the fact that he apparently owns a corporation as a way to get the heroes a plane flight to Prince Charmey, Charmey, who they think could be convinced to be on their side against the Guardian. I guess it's 50-50. On the one hand, he was a coward and surrendered, but he was smart to do so and might still hate him. But things turned south for Predator Hawk because apparently the Chaotix are able to overhear what he's saying to the heroes in the plane. Well, that sucks. It is pretty imaginative that Predator Hawk is a corporation owner in this universe, not to mention a hero.